The Mayor of London, Boris Johnson.
Good evening. Good evening. Wow, what a completely undeserved build-up, ladies and gentlemen. Delighted to see you here. Welcome to London. Young thrust, welcome. And may I congratulate you all individually on your success on being nominated to this fantastic One Young World conference. You've chosen the right city to come to, haven't you? I'm told this is called the Young Davos. Is that right? Well, we've gone to every possible trouble to imitate Davos, and we've laid on a great deal of snow. But we've done better than that, because London not only can boast more snow than ever before, and indeed buses that function in the snow, we are the world capital of finance, aren't we? Still, in spite of everything. Yes, with more people in the financial services industry than there are in New York. We're the world capital of culture. Yes, twice as many bookshops here in London as there are in New York. Not a fact that you hear Mayor Bloomberg mentioned very often. We have more museums than Paris, and let me tell you, it rains more in Rome, ladies and gentlemen. And we're also not just the world capital of finance and culture, but of science as well. And this is the key point that I want to make in this short speech tonight. Science is, I think, the future, and it's technology that is going to bring us together. London, let me ask you a question. Where do you think penicillin was invented? Where was penicillin invented? In London, correct. But whereabouts? Where? Not the Royal Institution, no, it was invented in Praed Street in Paddington. And a very useful thing to have after a night out in Praed Street. Some of you who know Praed Street can testify. Where was the Maxim gun invented? The Maxim gun was invented in Hatton Garden. Where was the first television set turned on? Do you know? London, yes, of course it turned on, but it was turned on in a room above what is now the Bar Italia in Frith Street in Soho. And let me ask you this question. Young leaders from around the world, where was the most important scientific theory of the last 200 years first propounded? It was propounded, of course, in London, but in which borough of London? Not Tower Hamlets, it's a very important borough. Where was the theory of evolution first postulated, ladies and gentlemen? The theory of evolution, the doctrine of evolution. Not Kensington and Chelsea, no. Which London borough? Does anybody know up there in the gallery? Not Hammersmith and Fulham, no. Not Camden, no. Not Westminster, no. I tell you, it was in Bromley. Bromley, ladies and gentlemen. And have anybody been to Bromley? When you go to Bromley and you behold the natural, physical and intellectual advantages of the people of Bromley, you will understand why there floated into Charles Darwin's mind the doctrine of natural selection and the survival of the fittest. And I stress London's role as the great scientific capital of the world, because it's science, I believe, and it's technology that gives us hope and is bringing young people and young leaders together. I was just talking to my old pal Sir Bob Geldof, who I think you're going to meet in a few minutes just now outside. And the world has changed so much since he and I were young and campaigning on some of the things that you care. When I was young, we were terribly worried that Russia was going to invade Poland. Does anyone remember that? Well, it's all changed now. Of course, Poland is now a happy member of the European Union, which is a great improvement, I hope, for Poland. And when we were young, we campaigned against apartheid in South Africa, and thanks to the fantastic work of Archbishop Desmond Tutu, who is here tonight, and others. That odious problem is no longer with us, and thankfully we have passed to majority rule in South Africa. And when we were young, when I was your age, we campaigned against poverty and injustice and want across the world. And there's a big difference. And this is why I stress science. There's a big difference now, because in 1984, when 1985, I should say, when Bob Geldof launched the great Live Aid campaign. Do you remember? Of course, you don't remember Live Aid. You weren't born when Live Aid took place. He had to muster pop stars from around the world, do you remember, to get money to Ethiopia. Today, in 2010, it took one London 7-year-old, I'm not kidding, to get on the internet and raise £72,000 for Haiti. And that is the difference between now and then. There is huge we are closer, I believe passionately, we are closer than ever before to being one world. We are closer than ever before to having a global consciousness, a global ability to solve our problems together, to have what I think sociologists, I'm not a sociologist, call a noosphere. Do you know what a noosphere is? No, nor do I. But anyway, we're close to having that single global consciousness, and that's why I'm delighted that you've come to this, the greatest global city on earth. I am proud to be mayor of a city where there are 300 languages spoken. And let me give you one statistic about London. When the world comes to London in 2012, there will be 50 countries. There will be representatives of 50 countries, teams from 50 countries who will come here and find a home crowd of more than 10,000 supporters. Now, there is no other city in the world that can boast quite that cosmopolitan credentials. London is a city whose energy and dynamism once conquered the world and now brings the world together in one city, and I'm proud to be its mayor. Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you one final question. I think it was Groucho Marx who said, when he was thinking about the young generation, he said, why should I care about future generations? What have they ever done for me? He said. And the terrible truth is that you are going to have to do a lot of things for all of us old-timers. You are going to have to, I'm afraid it is going to be your sad responsibility to pay for our pensions. You will be clearing up the environmental mess that will be, I'm afraid it's true, that we leave, and you will be paying for the debts that have been accrued by the current generation, not least by this current Labour government. And that is why, I'm not supposed to say that kind of thing, but that is why I am so proud and so pleased to be welcoming you here to our city, and that is why it is our duty, it is the duty of all of us old-timers, to give you every possible help, encouragement and support, and to hope that you enjoy yourselves in the best big city on earth. Thank you for coming, and welcome to London.
Thank you very much.